Welcome, hello, Yasu, hi, my name is Tai Kölner. I'm an author and I'm a magician practitioner on the left-hand path, black magic. I'm a student of the Swedish order Dragon Rouge and also I'm an empath. So this channel will be this time about the demon within us, a very discussed topic about how good or not good, not beneficial it might be to yourself. So I give you a little handout how I did work with it. But before we do that, make sure to subscribe my channel so to stay updated if you want so. And also, if there are any questions about the order Dragon Rouge or about applying or whatsoever, feel free to take contact with the order. I will link down the internet page and the email as well, because I'm not the speaker of the order. I'm just presenting my work and my experiences on the group path. This being said, let's dive into. As I often face, people are afraid when they hear the word demon. And in my case, before I even know more about that topic, I also was one of them who said, okay, I don't really dig into this name. Even today, I refuse to use the word demon in my own practice, because as for my opinion, it is names are made by human. And if I claim something is negative, I put a certain view on this. And as I view it as a negative, it will have a negative impact. And if I view it from a Christian side, and many of us grew up in a Christian impact, then of course the word demon has a negative impact. So I prefer the wording being. However, you can work with demons in several ways. You can invoke them or evoke them. Evoking is usually the moment when you do a ritual, when you do an invocation, a calling, and you make this presence to show up on your place, at your ritual place, to support you on your works. Invocation is when you call an entity into yourself. So to be the home or hotel to this entity for a certain amount of time, be it for the time of that ritual and banishing after that, or if you choose to work with this entity for years. There is another point to work with entities like this if they did pick you, if you found them, and if they are part of you. So, okay, one is the occupation during your lifetime. So, an entity who did choose you, or you as a practitioner choosing the other entity to be part of you for longer term or short term of your work. To drive out of this small, narrow frame of Christian definition of demon, in case of entity occupying your body, you could see it from another side. I had to learn about this. When I did face that, the support I got all my life was not just an inner voice of myself, but an own entity teaching up my life since birth. But I didn't get it before I was about 21. So I was in the beneficial state of being to be protected, to be taught about things not many know about or are conscious about. And on the other side, I didn't know about her until I really understood her. So In Indian culture, there is a story about the devas who occupy human beings as a representation, as a flesh-built temple to their existence. And this is something interesting because in many other cultures, be it in the Jewish Kabbalah and Clifford, or be it in the Indian way of the Asuras, for example, um, the entities may be negative forces who tend to destruct, but same beings may be seen as beneficial forces who are able to help you on your path. So to give you a link to my entity I'm working with, if you are used to working with Lucifer, for example, she is quite of a thing like that. You do your work and you focus on your senses, on your perceptions, on your evolving of your skills. But something in your life happens. You move away, you get a new job, whatever, you meet somebody and you're totally distracted from your path. This might work out a little bit, and it might work out if you just work with entities, let's say for the amount of the ritual. But if you dedicate, or if you are occupied having a 27 24/7 entity roundabout you all your life, you cannot just say, hey, I take some holidays out, because if you do so, there will come the point when everything breaks apart. So you got a red line you follow on, you're working on, be it arts, be it music, be it reading books like hell, be it being out in nature, be it doing rituals. But it is always to grow on yourself. So if you sneak out from it because you're distracted, and for example, being out for 3, 4 years, running a new job, creating a family, and totally dumping your alley, you might face that everything you're building up is crashed apart until you restart your track. I found an interesting discussion lately when somebody was telling you it was a little lighter way of seeing it. When this person was telling there is a cosmic call you get, and if you don't follow this cosmic call, it eventually will force you into your purpose. So yes, it is quite the same. And here you see I'm balancing. I'm not convinced about to get me some eye claps, like horses. I'm very much into comparing different religions, different side of views, because there is nothing to fear. We can learn from each other's. So if you take a meditation, for example, the technique is the same to everybody using it. It is your own decision. If you say the Kundalini I awake, I will use to dedicate it to an entity or God, or if you say the energy I unchain, I will use for my own development. So, but about Kundalini, I will dig into another time. For now, it is about demon. And many of you who are skilled in doing rituals, doing invocations, doing practicing and calling on spirits to your purpose, or to ally them, or whatever you plan about. Most of you use these older books, let's say, where the ritual is given, like put the candle there, take black candles there, use this or that incense, and then you speak this or those words. That's all correct and good, and it is need to have a structure. The most best on that is you got a name. So if things go wrong, let's say not everyone is in a good mood to support you every time. And if some things go wrong, or if you work with an entity who is just like clinchy, like an old ex-girl on your side, yeah, you have to find a way out to banish it. And if you got a name, nothing could be more easier than that. So you can do a banishing ritual, naming the entity, making sure to block it out, use incenses to clean your ritual space. That's one way to do. But it is not always given. So as I told in my introduction first, I did not start in using these books. I did not start in using rituals I did read somewhere. To me, my first spell I did, for example, I wrote all by myself. And I did use something connected to the person. I broke it. I casted one to the one side and the other I did spill down the toilet. And when I met this person again, 2 years later, he came to me and he told me how he was doing the last years. And while he was explaining, I just said, okay, spell fit. And I felt a little bit sorry about, because it was not his mistake. I was convinced about others I wouldn't have done, but he also was telling me that he broke it. And I knew why. And so I told him about that spell. And when I did tell him, he said, yeah, I know, you always were like a kind of a witchy. I said, yeah, but I did not really think you could break it. The point was, the reason why I spelled him was exactly the reason he was solving for himself. He grew. He did evolve on that point. And so he was evolving from this blush he had. My spell was solved. So, okay, but this was just a spell. If you work with entities, so when I was working with energy fields I felt somewhere around, and when I did open and when I did invite this energy towards me and was working with it without even having a name, just a frequency hearing, there are now and then entities who make themselves very, very home. Doesn't mean that they want to harm you in any way, but they are quite convinced about I stay longer. And when you try to get them out, because of you want to work with another entity or whatever the hell, you are the one inhabiting your own body. So if you have a guest and he is not willing to leave his guest's room, so your shell, you have to find a way to show him how to get the entrance. And there was, in my early ages, without any name, without any ritual around this, it is very different to find out what this entity makes leaving you. So there is a little trick I did develop on my way. If you are occupied by an energy you don't know, there is a simple try and fail test. Try on different music styles. Try on different way of eatings. Try on colors. Try on sports. Same as we human. Let's say you don't dig into carrots. You hate carrots. So you get to visit and someone is serving you a bunch of carrots for dinner. Then you will sit there and say, okay, why I'm sitting here. And same about these entities. You have to experiment. If you are eating, if you're smelling some smell, if you are drinking certain drinks, or if you're facing yourself to special colors and so on, you will feel if this entity agrees about or if it disagrees about. And if it hates whatever it is, and if it is a certain cup you're carrying around all the day in your flat, there is one thing it does not like. And so you grab this thing and you overdo it. This technique, by the way, works out very fine if you're occupied by human too, but this is another topic to dig into another time. However, let's say this entity does not handle hip hop. I mean, you see, I'm not very much into hip hop either. Let's say folk music could even banish me, but in a way of, if you find out what this entity doesn't like, and if it doesn't go the nice way, then pick the hard way. Get yourself some headphones, dial on hip hop or folk music or pink color, whatever your finding was, and then you give it an overdose. 5 hours, 10 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, a month. I don't care. Until this entity gets out. And it sounds so very simple, but it exactly works that way. And if you're occupied by a human, it's the same. The only point is you have to feel what is the pain point. You really have to find the pain point, and then you dig in your finger and you give it an overdose until it says, okay, fuck you, I go. So that's a long way of banishing. In my case, I had to do it twice in 20 years. Twice on a demon, one time on a human. So I don't know if we really need to go into banishing. I'm not a fan of banishing either, even if I do rituals. Because if I knock your door, or if you knock my door asking for, hey, I got a problem here, I've done that and that stuff, and now I get a feedback, and I'm fucking blown. I don't know what to do now. I need your advice. And I say, okay, sit down, let's take a coffee, talk about what did you do? How do we solve this? Then it would be kind of unfriendly to kick you out of my flat after that and to never answer a call again. So, or let's take it another way around. If you ask an entity for a bunch of money, I know there are people doing rituals just for gathering in money or for finding somebody to be with, to be in love with. And I'm not that kind of profane working, but okay, if you if there are people doing so, they're doing so. But you cannot go there and say, okay, I do a ritual for money and I give every dedication into and respect and honor, and then everything is working, and now I say, hey, piss off. It's like taking a baseball stick and bashing it out of the flat. That's not the way I am working. Everything you ask for has a bill. That's something anyways, if you banish or not. And if I dare to contact an entity that shall support me on my way, I know there is a balance to give. So if I call in an entity and say, okay, I got a problem here and there, I want to solve this, I want to evolve on that, whatever, then this entity in the end has in the hand how fast you will do or not, or if it just appears or not. And I'm not a big fan of banishing. So however, now and then it is a good idea to burn some incenses, clean your ritual space, also clean yourself. And here is one thing about demon within us, a practice I did learn and I want to give it to you, is sometimes these entities can be stuck. So I don't mean entities you're invoking, because an invoked entity you can banish, but sometimes you just catch up an energy or you catch up an entity and it wants to leave, but it's kind of not able to go. And there is this unfolding I had once. I was at my work, and it was a few days when I was smelling a sense like a train station toilet, and I just thought, okay, I don't know what that is. And it got more evil and evil and evil, and I thought, oh damn God, if I am stinking like that, I really have a gut problem. So I asked the working colleague, I said, sorry, my deodorant failed today, damn warm weather. And she just looked at me and said, no, you're looking, you do not smell, there's nothing okay, you're looking good, what's the problem? I said, I don't know, I just thought my deodorant rocked. So no, it wasn't. It was running for a few weeks, and this smell in my nose, it became exhausting even. So I took contact to a brother and I asked him what to do. And it's no big secret, you can use saga for cleaning your body when you do it as an incense or for a place to clean it. In my case, it was drinking 2 liters of saga tea every day for 2 weeks. And this is something I want to hand over to you as a, let's say, SOS version of being you cannot distinguish or let free, because in my case it was just stuck. There was a remain of an energy stuck in my body and it was decomposing simply, and I wasn't able to let it go. This links into another topic, what comes about a black magician and a healer. You have to deal with such aspects more often. I will dig into that in another video for sure. But for now, if you have an energy remain that is just stuck in your body without any intention of an entity who does want to stay there, but just the remain of something that cannot leave your body, there is many ways of cleaning, but if nothing works at all, try and saga tea. So why do we do? Why do we do work with demon? There are simple mundane ways, and I don't know if I want it, need it. It was never my cup of tea to do so, but you can use, or demon often were called, to sort things out in your life. Be it familyship, lovership, financial ship, being famous, being whatever protects you in your life. This is all meta plane business. I'm not working that way. My thing is more spiritual plane business. And if you ask me, it's the more important thing to me. Entities can teach you up about energy structures. They can teach you up about your physical health. They can teach you up in understanding how thresholds, how dimensions, how entities, how we are working. They can teach you life from true, whereas I have to say you always have to be in a dialogue, not just like reading a book and saying cool, right. No, you have to take it and you have to check it to find your own answers, to find your own understanding about. And this demon are very old entities. They know far more than we, and they are able to teach us on a level a book or a mentor. Now, maybe a mentor could, depending on the demon. But they are able to teach us things that go far beyond matter. And this is the big diamond, the big treasure to find. To find your essence and to grow your own essence to the best you are, to the best you can be. And you can do it in a temporarily work with a demon. You can do it with your inner diamond, while inner demon is another thing. Maybe I will dig into a very later topic. And entities within us are able to support us to focus and to direct our path of learning. So, this being said, no, demons are not the destructors of your life as long you're willing to learn. As long you're willing to take the teaching and to use it to grow. Of course, if you are the lazy bitch in the last chair of the room, picking up your feet and telling whatever you're teaching, the feedback will come because they don't need to work with us. They want to work with us. And as we are learning from them, they are learning from us. And if we are not of benefit for them, they will not be benefit for us. So, this for today. Let's see how far we reach. If you have some topics you want to talk about with me, put it down into the comment area. Not forget to subscribe my channel if you want to follow up newer topics. And also if there are questions around the Order Dragon Rouge, also you find the links below. It's not my topic here. Get there if you got any questions. And I'm happy to see you again.